mercy to someone lower. Yes, Prabhupada affirmed. He is always thinking, I am lower than a worm, but Lord Krishna wants it, so let me do some service. That's all. His comments made it clear that it's simply a question of offering assistance to help another advance. Prabhupada illustrated his point through another comical exchange with Gurudas. Therefore we say Prabhu. Prabhu means, you are my master. Please order me. What can I do for you? So that should be the attitude. Not, Gurudas Prabhu. Prabhupada said it in an exaggerated fashion with a bite of sarcasm in it. Please come here and brush my shoes. We all laughed again, perhaps recognizing something of ourselves in the parody, as he continued. What kind of Prabhu? He should say, Gurudas Prabhu, can I brush your shoes? This is a real Vaishnav. So a nice comment there on the exchange between devotees. A devotee is always thinking about the welfare of others. He's also seeking his own welfare by associating with devotees who are more advanced than himself. And as a matter of duty, he's trying to give some opportunity for engaging in devotional service to those that don't have it. But it's not that he's thinking, oh, he's become very advanced and now he should be served by those who are so-called lower. His mood is that everybody is Prabhu, everybody is a master, and therefore let me do some service. Prabhu, can I do something for you? This is the correct mood. So anyway, by association with devotees then, there should be a transformation. That's the whole point. If you go to somebody, you know, so-called spiritual personality, and nothing changes in your life, just you give a lot of money to that person, but you don't actually transform, and we see this sometimes. There's so many avatars and, you know, manifestations of Godhead. They simply get up a big following. They get large amounts of contributions, but the followers remain exactly as they are. They don't change their lives. They don't transform. Their behavior remains exactly the same. That's not spiritual life. There's some sentiment there, that's all. But real spiritual life means that there should be a complete transformation. A person should be brought up out of the modes of material nature, ignorance and passion, at least to the platform of goodness and to the transcendental platform. So that should be seen by that person's behavior. It should be seen in the way that they walk, in the way they talk, in the way that they eat, in the way they sleep. In every aspect of their life, there should be some transformation. That's real spiritual life. So we got that, of course, from associating with Srila Prabhupada. When Prabhupada came to the West and he started preaching the Bhagavad Gita, explaining the Bhagavad Gita, because many other people had already spoken on Bhagavad Gita, but as he said, no person up till that point had become a devotee of Krishna. Even though Krishna says, you know, Manmana Bhavamat Bhakto Madhyaji Namaskaran, even though he says Savadamam Parijagya Mami Kamsvaranam Praja, give up everything else and just surrender to me. Nobody was doing that until Prabhupada began explaining it. And because he was fully surrendered to Krishna, because he was himself on that transcendental platform, he had an immediate effect on the people that he contacted. Immediately people wanted to come, they wanted to learn, they wanted to become transformed and become devotees themselves. And that was all by Srila Prabhupada's personal association, by his practical example. He was living the life, and therefore he could convince others that this was the best thing for them as well. So one of the nice features then of that Mayapur festival, at least in those days, was because a lot of the devotees, you know, in the early 70s, we'd heard about Mayapur, we'd heard about Vrindavan, we'd heard about the spiritual places, and, you know, we had a desire to go there. Most devotees had that ambition. At some point they'd go to the Holy Dham and be in the places where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had appeared and performed his pastimes, or Krishna had appeared and performed his pastimes. These places are very special. They afford another kind of association that transforms you if you go there. But apart from that, one of the main features of the Mayapur Gaur Purnima festival was just not, it wasn't just, you know, the excitement of arriving in the holy place, but it was the fact that Srila Prabhupada himself was there. That was the real key of the component of the festivals in those early times. So on March the 14th, 1976, there was about 600 devotees that had arrived from different temples around the world. That was the biggest Mayapur festival that we'd had up to that point, because ISKCON was just beginning to grow in India at that time. We had 2 or 3 main centres, and not so many devotees locally. But at the Gaur Purnima festival, now 500-600 devotees flew in from all around the world just to be there for the Gaur Purnima festival, and particularly to see Srila Prabhupada. So down in the temple room during his discourse, Prabhupada told us about bhava, or ecstasy. At the present moment, he said, we've got a bhava. I am this, I am that, I belong to this family, I belong to this nation. So bhava is ecstasy, and everyone is overwhelmed with such kind of ecstasy. The politicians, they're thinking, oh, these devotees, they're simply wasting their time in chanting and dancing. Or they have no sense how to improve the position of the country. So they do not like it because we are in a different bhava. But we are trying to change that bhava. The bhava must be there. And the whole Krishna consciousness movement is to purify the bhava. So that is stated here in this verse, Parishuddha bhava. We are not negating anything. We are simply changing from material bhava to spiritual bhava. That's all. So here is a big building. But there are many hundreds and thousands of big buildings in this district or in this country. In those days we had one building in Mayapur. It was 4 stories high. It's what we call the Lotus building. And there was the front gate and the kitchen. That was it. But the bhava here is changed. In your country there are many big skyscraper buildings. So in comparison to those buildings, this is nothing. But still, you have come here spending thousands of dollars to change your bhava. So that is required. Otherwise, you, American boys and girls, you have no business to come here and see this big building. But to change the bhava, that is required. And that is a very important thing. Then, getting down from his Vyasa, the devotees crowding around, Prabhupada embarked on his daily circuit of the temple room. So he used to go around the deities 3 times, and we would chant and dance all the way around with him. Prithu Putra Swami struck up a loud kirtan, and Prabhupada began to exhibit his own bhava, dancing up and down the whole time. The devotees were wild with delight as he rang the bells which were hanging down on either side of the temple room, strongly pulling on the ropes for prolonged spells, encouraging the devotees to chant and dance with increasing enthusiasm, and smiling all the while. After his 3rd circuit, he came before their lordships and he began to dance. Hundreds of devotees converged around him, leaping with excitement, as he put first one hand up in the air, and then handing his cane to Madhvisa Swami, he raised up the other. With both arms extended and a huge smile on his face, he urged the ecstatic crowd to greater and greater heights of spiritual abandon, as he also jumped up and down enthusiastically. It was a personal demonstration of what Lord Chaitanya's festival is really all about. Purification through association. Visiting the Dham is wonderful, but seeing and being with Srila Prabhupada is the concentrated essence. So that was very nice. Some mornings, I mean, Prabhupada at that time was 80 years old, but he would get swept up in the ecstasy with the rest of the devotees, and he would sometimes, you know, literally jump up and down in the kirtan, and all the devotees would just go completely crackers. Everybody would just be jumping and bouncing off the walls, you know, seeing Prabhupada, you know, so ecstatically happy in the kirtan there. So, you know, that naturally encouraged us to more and more, you know, greater heights of spiritual abandon. So anyway, Prabhupada's association, of course, was very powerful. He could transform somebody if they were open. Then Prabhupada could actually bring a person from the lowest position to the very highest position just by his association and by his words of instruction. He had that power to do that. But sometimes, of course, people, especially in India, they do appreciate sadhus. They know, you know, spiritual personalities. They offer some respect. But generally speaking, it's not for the right reasons. And we had an example of that. We were traveling on a train from Madras to Nellore, that's in South India, and we've been in Madras for the 1st and 2nd of January in '76. Prabhupada had done a couple of evening programs.